Show 'em you ain't dead. Tell 'em that you ain't coming home. Woo, eyes. Woo, eyes. Woo,
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Steve Freeman Podcast. That means it is Tuesday. It means it is 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. Glad you could all be here. I got to be honest with you, those of you that follow me on social media, I have not been feeling well the last couple of days. Like, not at all. Pretty sure it's a sinus infection. I deal with these things all the time, really, but it's this time of year. And I don't know what's going on in Nashville, but it's ludicrous. Not the rapper. Because like day before yesterday it was 80 degrees and then yesterday it was like 30. And then it's cold again today and this weather keeps going back and forth and back and forth and it's keeping everybody sick. My youngest daughter's been out of school for 2 days. I don't know what's going on. I just know that, man, just get that sluggish feeling and I've had a headache for 2 days. Sinus is completely congested and closed off, and it's just like, man, I have a hard time with it. And I don't deal, the worst thing in the world to me is a headache. I cannot stand having a headache. I absolutely hate it. Like, I'd rather have a root canal than have a headache. And I've had one for 2 days. The Excedrin migraine's taken the edge off of it just a little bit, but not all the way. But, it's what we deal with this time of year. Otherwise, everybody's in the Christmas spirit, I hope. We've got our house completely decorated inside and out. We've got the Mickey Mouse countdown to Christmas that shoots up over the garage. Got into a 30-minute conversation with one of our neighbors about it last night. Those of you that know me well know how much I love talking to people. How much there's nothing more in life than I enjoy than talking to people, especially strangers. I've never really met a stranger that I didn't know. It was interesting. And it was cold and I'm sick, but I did it. I stood out there like a champion, like a warrior, like the person that I'm not, and talked to this elderly couple for 30 minutes. It's probably longer than I've talked to my mother in 5 years. But it was a good conversation. Learned that they were from Ohio, been here about a year. And I always love, of course, I have a lot of friends from Canada, and I get this a lot from them too. And that is that when it snows down here or it gets cold down here, everybody from up north is like, this is not snow, this is not cold. You don't know anything about cold. And that's true. That's true. It can start snow flurries here and like school shuts down, the banks are closed, government's closed. And it is a little bit different of a world than it is up north. But I don't want it that way. It's cold enough right now, and I know it's going to get colder. And I'm the kind of guy that it's like, I like this during the Christmas season, during the holiday season, but like December 26th, I'm ready for it to be 72 degrees again. And I know that's not going to happen. But welcome in, everybody. Tonight, I wanted to try to do an Ask Me Anything. I've been getting a lot of emails from you guys and direct messages asking questions. So I thought maybe tonight we would do an Ask Me Anything. So if you want to talk about songwriting or producing or artist development, social media, growing your brand, whatever it is, the questions that you guys have on your mind, I thought tonight would be a great opportunity to answer some of those. And in the process, we are working on getting the new studio completely set up. I've got a couple people coming over at the end of the week and over the weekend. We're putting a bunch of flat screens on the wall, like part of the wall will be all flat screen TV. It's really cool. It's coming together, and so we're trying to get all of that done, and as a part of that, pieces are starting to come in. We got the big computer that we ordered to be able to house all this. We're going to have multiple camera angles all over the room. It's also a space where I can have up to, 3 additional guests if I want, that will be coming in studio. And so we have to have multiple camera angles for all of those people. And it's been quite the design project, and I've been frustrated with it. But it's coming together. But we might also try something else out tonight. We have our toll-free number, so you'll be able to call into the show. It's no longer a Nashville number. It is a toll-free number. We may debut that a little bit later. And if anybody wants, then you can call into the show. You can ask questions. We can talk. I see everybody starting to join in. David Jones, what's up, buddy? Good to see you. Kevin? Logging on from North Little Rock, Arkansas. Awesome. Glad to have you guys here. You guys don't hesitate to jump in. Be a part. We are simulcasting again, so anybody that doesn't know, we are live right now. The podcast is live on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. So you may see me talking to somebody and you don't realize it's because I'm talking to somebody that may be watching on a different platform than you're watching on. It gets confusing, but I finally got the app working where, at least on my end, it consolidates everything in, and no matter where you're watching from, it tells me where you're watching and what your comment is or what your question is, and I can pull it up and read it right there. But so the studio's coming together. I really want to try to do the first show in there before the first of the year. I don't know if that's going to work or not, but we're working towards it. We're getting close to Christmas. I don't know. If not, we definitely, the first show of 2019 will for sure be in the new studio. And I've been reaching out, and we've got some great guests that are going to be coming on the show in the first quarter of 2019, both via teleconferencing or video conferencing, but also coming that will be here in the studio with us as well. We're going to have some really interesting conversations. And I'm really excited. I've reached out to some other people that we are trying to work on schedules with, and it's just really exciting. I'm loving how this thing's growing. You guys are logging on and you're watching live, but also you guys are downloading the podcast on iTunes, and we just threw it up on Spotify the other day. So now if you have Spotify, you can now find the Steve Freeman podcast on Spotify, on iTunes, and then of course YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. And then about 30 minutes after we air live, it shows back up on YouTube again. So every one of them are there in a playlist and on demand. So thank you guys for participating and for hanging out. Speaking of some of the guests that we're going to have on, I want to have on people from many different walks of life. I want to have on, I'm trying to get Jason Lewis from Painfully Honest Tech on YouTube. His channel has exploded this year. And he reviews a lot of tech stuff, phones, computers, and all that kind of stuff. And I love his show. We've messaged each other back and forth. He said he will come on and do the show. But I think that would be really interesting because it's something that interests me. And I think, watching people grow things is very interesting to me. And as an entrepreneur, that has always been the allure, right? It is about that end goal, but more than anything, it's about the process. It's about the work. It's about what you're doing in the in-between, in process. And I love watching people. I started watching Jason's show on YouTube when he had maybe 3,000-4,000 subscribers, and he's built it up to over 125,000 subscribers this year. And that's an amazing story. And so I want to have him on to talk about that. Plus, he's a singer-songwriter as well. And I want to talk to him about music. I always love getting people who do other things but have interest in music. I love getting their take on what they think about music right now and where it's come and where it's going to go. Because a lot of these people are influencers. At this point, Jason's an influencer with 125,000 subscribers. That makes you an influencer. And it's people like that, whether they're in music or not, they are going to have a say-so and an influence over where music goes, because that's where it's all coming down to. I've got a video coming out on my YouTube channel, possibly at the end of this week, about the new major label. And that everybody says the major label systems are dying. And as it's set up right now, yes, they are dying. But there are 3 new major labels that are going to be taking some of their place. We're going to talk about that in the video, and then we'll also talk about it maybe on next week's podcast as well. Speaking of music, last year was a good year for U2. I don't know if many of you saw this or not, but the list of Forbes highest paid entertainers, musicians has come out. It shocked me to know that U2 was at the top of the list. They made $118 million last year. There's a lot of people that would argue, especially a lot of the younger people, well, U2's not even relevant. Well, they're $118 million relevant. That is not bad. It's also around $3 million higher than the people right behind them, which would be like Ed Sheeran, Bruno Mars, and Katy Perry. They all came in 3rd, 4th, and 5th, respectively, and they each had profits around $100 million. $100 million. The major label system may be dead, but the music business is not dead. And I've said this many, many, many times, but I don't think there's ever been a better time in the world to be an artist, to be an independent artist even. The avenues are out there for you to succeed. And I mean, this proves it. I mean, for you two to make $118 million last year, Ed Sheeran, Bruno Mars, and Katy Perry all over the 100 million mark. I mean, if you were 10% as successful, that's 10 million. Well, take it down to 1% would be 1 million. You don't have to think very hard, and I'm not good at math, to realize that even if you go down to 0.03%, what you're making on a success level based off of what other major artists are doing. And that's another thing that I've been thinking, and I've been working with some other songwriters and artists that I'm developing right now in talking about how to gauge your success and being goal-oriented, but realizing and setting real obtainable goals. And I say it all the time. Success in this business, especially the music business, is not hard. Success in any business is not hard if you know the business side of it and you're approaching it the right way. And it's just, I look at these numbers and it's staggering. Do you have the opportunity and the chance to be one of these people that's going to make $118 million? Probably not. I mean, I would venture to say that 99.99999% of you are not going to make $118 million ever or total in your career. But that doesn't mean because you're not making $118 million that you can't be successful and you can't make great money off of your music, whether that be selling your music, selling your merch, playing on the road. And that's all tough. It's all hard to do. Believe me, I understand. I get it. But it is possible for those that work hard enough. It's more than possible. Also, before we get to, and I want to throw this out there, I want to get you guys' response on this, because I'm a huge sports guy. I watch, especially football. This thing that happened this week with Kansas City Chiefs running back Kareem Hunt. Did anybody see that? Of course, as always, it's sports figures, entertainment figures have to absolutely cringe every time they open a social media account and there's a headline that TMZ has obtained secret footage. They must all just absolutely cringe thinking that it's them. But TMZ, they did get the footage of Kareem Hunt, arguing, pushing, and then the chick was down on the floor and he kicked her while she was down. while all of his friends were trying to get that not to happen. That was the thing. Everybody around him was trying to keep him away from this woman because they knew, in the heat of the moment, his temper was flared, and he wasn't thinking about being a multi-million-dollar, but one of the best running backs in the NFL. He wasn't thinking about that. He was thinking, as we all do, we get wrapped up in the heat of the moment. Here in Nashville, earlier this week, there was a road rage incident where I guess a tractor-trailer rig accidentally ran this guy off the road. He came back up on the road, flagged the guy down, they pulled over, and he shot the truck driver in the head and killed him. I mean, it's a crazy world we live in. But I've been seeing what a lot of people are saying on this Kareem Hunt thing about, and he's been released by the Kansas City Chiefs. Kind of the same thing that happened with Ray Rice, except Ray Rice, he beat the fool out of that girl. That was hard to watch. This, to me, is probably an unpopular thing to say, but I'm going to say it. This, to me, is a little different. Just a little different. Now, I'm not advocating that number one, you should never put your hands on a woman if you're a guy. Number two, I don't think you should put your hands on anybody. But I also find it very strange that in the day, and look, I'm going to put this out there, and I'm not saying this is necessarily what I believe, but I'm going to put it out there. In the day and time that we live in, when everybody's fighting and wanting equal rights, and we're not supposed to treat one person better than the other person or look at one person as better or less than anybody, if we're all supposed to be equal, then what happened with Kareem Hunt? From what I understand, he was upset. He tried to get this woman to leave his hotel room. She wouldn't leave. I don't know, but nobody knows. The only people that know are Kareem Hunt, that lady, and the people that were in the room. All we can judge for and go for is what the security camera footage that we see of what happened afterward. And I'm not saying that what he did was right, but what I am saying is that what he did was right whether it was a man or a woman. You can't throw this thing out there that women don't want to be treated less than, they want to be treated, just like you would treat anybody else, man, woman, child, animal, whatever. It's this equality thing. But yet when something like this happens, this guy's going to lose his job because he shoved and pushed down a woman. Right? Now, like I said, I'm not taking a position on this. I'm just throwing this out there because I want to hear what you guys have to think about this, because we're entering a time in the world and in our country where everybody has to think 300 times before they do anything, right? It's almost scary. Like I was telling you what happened here in Nashville. Sometimes maybe you're not paying attention, or you look in your rear view mirror or your side view mirror and you didn't see a car and you went over and you accidentally cut somebody off. That person is likely to chase you down and shoot you in the head. That is the world that we live in. So people's tempers tend to take over. And when we're in the heat of the moment of any situation, it's a little strange because your mind is not made that way to go, okay, stop, pause, hold on a second. Let me think this thing through. But in the Kareem Hunt situation, I guess the problem that I see with it is that in every other scenario, we're supposed to treat other people as equals and not less than, or like, women don't want to be put up on this pedestal like they're special and they need to be handled with kid gloves. That's the message we hear. And then all of a sudden, one of them gets shoved in a hallway in a hotel, and a guy loses his job over it. Because had he done the same thing that he did to another man, he'd be suiting up on Sunday. So which way is it? And I guess that's the question that I'm throwing out there. And I would love to hear a female perspective on this. I would absolutely love to. Where is that line? Where's the line between you want to be treated like everybody else And then where's that line drawn that, we've crossed that line and now I actually want to be treated differently than everybody else. And look, I know it's a touchy subject. I get it. I'm looking at comments. I see. I know it's a touchy subject. But I think it's something that I want to hear from people because, with the Me Too movement and everything that's going on, I mean, as a guy, I want to know where the line is. What are the rules? So we're not supposed to treat anybody else greater than or less than unless you're in a locker room type situation, then you're not allowed to say that because that could be offensive. Or if an argument ensues, I'm not saying that it's all right to push a woman, push a lady, push a girl. You never do that. That ought to be something that's just instilled in you. But I also know the heat of the moment. We all know that. And if you're being honest with yourself, you know it too. But where is that line? Because like I said, had he pushed down a man, he would be suiting up on Sunday for the Kansas City Chiefs. But because it was a woman, he lost his job. So look, what he did was wrong. It was absolutely wrong. But was it a human thing to do? Absolutely. Where I draw the line is when I watched that video footage, I thought, oh man, that guy just ended his career. That was horrible. He should not have done that. But where I draw the line, and I see it differently, is that when I watched that video of Ray Rice beating the ever-loving crap out of that woman, that made me sick at my stomach. That to me is a different level. That guy does not deserve to be able to play in the NFL. And I agree with his ban. I agree with everything that's happened and fallen out from that. But when I watch the Kareem Hunt video, just me, I see a man that made a horrible mistake in the passion and in the heat of the moment. But it's just me. And I'm not condoning what he did. What he did was wrong. But my point is that it would have been wrong to have treated a man, a child, a dog, a hamster, a rabbit, it was just wrong, right? But I think there is a difference. And people are saying that it's like what, Ray Rice did. No, it is not. Ray Rice grabbed a woman by the hair, drug her down a hallway into an elevator, and beat the crap out of her in the elevator. Closed fist, swinging, knocked her out. That's not the same as getting into a shoving match in the hallway of a hotel. It's just not. And is it a mistake? It's absolutely a mistake. Should have he been fined? Absolutely. Fine him $5 million. Suspend him for the rest of the season. Just as a thing of setting a precedent that we're not going to deal with this. This isn't right. But we as a society, on one hand, we're told we don't treat people special. Everybody's equal. And then on the other side, it's, wait a second, well, you can't do that to a woman. You can't say that around a woman. I tell you, as a guy, it makes it kind of damn scary to go out in public and have any kind of conversation with a woman whatsoever. Because we are not in charge of how and what that perception is being from the person that you're talking to. I can say something completely innocent and it can be perceived as something else. So it's a dangerous, dangerous, dangerous time that we live in. Kevin says training Krav Maga, learn desolation and how to protect yourself. I completely agree. And if you live or are ever in or near Little Rock, Central Arkansas, you need to go check out Krav Maga, Arkansas. It is the only IKMF certified Krav Maga school in the entire state of Arkansas. And my buddy Kevin is the state director. So go check out Krav Maga, Arkansas. You can find them online too, KravMagaArkansas.com. Go follow them. And he's exactly right. We all need to be learning to protect ourselves. But I'm interested to hear your comments. If anybody would like to throw anything out on this subject, I would be more than happy to know what you have to say. No Sushi watching on Twitch says, yo, you look like a discount Keemstar. A discount? Maybe look like? Keemstar can't come close to my stacks, brother. It just can't happen. But thank you for watching anyway. Glad you're here. MBK Soonsgirl wants to know, you still get your Yes, 2019 we are launching the esports organization Gaijin Gaming. It's been a process. That's been a process as well. Getting all the licensing and everything that we've got to have, getting the teams together, and that's a whole other thing. And we'll be talking about that for sure. But it's been a blast. Putting it all together and having everything there and approving all the merch. That's kind of where we're at right now. I'd actually placed a very large merch order about 3 months ago, and I kept wondering what was taking so long. Well, the order, there was a problem, something went wrong, and the order never actually got placed with the printer in North Carolina. So I just spoke with somebody today that's here in Nashville that handles all of the merchandise for my friends, the Martins, who own Martin's Barbecue. And I talked to their person today, and they're going to take over, and we're going to have them do all of the stuff. And the website's being designed, and a lot of cool stuff going on. So, long answer to your question, absolutely. 2019 is the year. We should start leaking some stuff out probably the last week of January. I know we've been getting a lot of direct messages on Instagram about teams. Yes, we are going to have several teams: World of Warcraft, Fortnite, Call of Duty, all of League of Legends. We're going to have all of that, and I'm right. Part of the process is what I'm finding interesting about the gaming world is that, like, even though it's under one heading of gaming, but it's like the World of Warcraft people don't talk to the League of Legends people. And so it's like I'm having to talk, and we're kind of arranging a team of people that are specialists for each one of those things. And as we obtain the information that we need and we know how we're going to do things, then we'll progress forward and we'll start, doing things. And one of the first things that I want to do is have a big tournament for each one of those things here in Nashville. That's going to be kind of God, I'm just laying it all out here, and I'm not supposed to do this, but I own it, so I can do what I want, right? As a big launch, that's what I want to do. I want to have a 2 or 3 day tournament, an esports tournament here in Nashville that does feature it won't just be one game. I want to have Fortnite, Call of Duty, World of Warcraft, League of Legends. I want to have all of those over like a 3 day period come spring. That will kind of be the launch of everything because Gaijin will be sponsoring it and putting it on and hosting the tournament here in Nashville. I'm also talking to some other businesses around Nashville that are interested in sponsoring it and putting it on and putting it at a really cool location and making it a lot of fun. There's a lot of logistics. You know what? I have to be honest with you people on Twitch. I have always loved games. I love video games. I love playing them. I have to admit, I'm addicted to Call of Duty. I'm addicted to Fortnite. I'm addicted to streaming. I absolutely love it. Love doing it. But I never really appreciated the amount of logistics that go into esports. And especially when you're starting and investing in and funding an esports complete organization, I have a new respect for people like Nade Shot and Optic Gaming and 100 Thieves. All the it's a world that I knew existed, but it's like, man, it is difficult for somebody who spent 25 years, making a name for himself in the music business, and you would think that gaming and esports wouldn't be that far away because it's all underneath the internet. It's a completely different world, but I got to tell you, I'm loving every single second of it. learning all of the information, getting to know a lot of the players, and getting to know kind of the structure of esports. It's a lot of fun. It is a ton of fun, and I'm really, really, really looking forward to it. So thank you guys for the questions if you're watching on Twitch. And it's so funny because with us being live on 3 different platforms here, everybody's kind of got a different reason for being here. So it's interesting. But if you have a question, you got a comment, you got something you want to know, it's an Ask Me Anything session. So feel free to ask me anything. All you got to do is type it in the chat. If you're on Facebook, just type it in the comment section. It'll pop right up. If you are on YouTube, same thing. Just type it in the comments. It'll pop up, and the same thing on Twitch. And then magically, it all comes together, and it comes right here in front of me. And I can do that and see everything, all the comments that you're making right there. So, yeah, also, Sports World, Urban Meyer's going to retire after the Rose Bowl. That's interesting. I wonder if that guy's going to wind up in the NFL. He'll take a break for a year, and then I think he'll pop up and be somewhere else. That's just the way all those guys do that. But yeah, it's getting interesting. I lost again this week on fantasy football. Thanks for the question. Yeah, I didn't do well this week on fantasy football. It's just not. I have a great freaking team too. It's just not working out. I've got a really good team, and it's just not working out well this year. But that's all right. It's okay. It's all right. I do it for the fun of it. But yeah, I wish I was doing better. So yeah, you guys, if you got questions, you got comments or anything, pop them in there, and I will look up and see. Now, we're going to give this a shot. We're going to try this because we just secured this, and this is not how the setup's going to be in the new studio. But I want to try it. So I'm going to flash up that we've got a new phone number. It's toll-free. And if somebody wants to call, feel free to call. We can actually try it out. We can try this out live right here on the podcast. I know that it will ring extremely loud in my ear, which it will not do in the new studio. But if somebody wants to try it out, you got a question, you got a comment, or you just want to mess with me so that loud ringing goes off in my ear, feel free. Here is the new number. It's toll-free, 877-337-8737. You think I get any more 3s or 7s in there? The reason that is 877-337-TSFP for the Steve Freeman podcast. 877-337-8737. It is toll-free. You can call from anywhere. And it's going to be a lot different when we get over into the new studio. But it's like I wanted to try my best to try to get all of this stuff going beforehand so that it just kind of moved over instead of just trying to get everything to go when we get over there and be dealing with a ton. See, I told you that is it's not coming through to you guys, but it's coming through to me. I know who this is. This is. Let's see. It should be Kevin. What's up, buddy?
What's up, brother? Wanted to be the first one to call in and check out the new.
Oh, there you go, man. Well, you're sounding good. What's happening in North Little Rock, Arkansas today?
Oh man, not much. Cold, and I think we're supposed to get some ice. I'm sure it'll hit you dead on about Sunday. So.
Oh, no, I don't want that.
You get to look forward to some more
I don't want
cold.
the ice. I don't want the ice at all.
I'm
sick of this. Hey, I was talking about, when you logged on earlier, I was talking about Krav Maga, about your comment. While I've got you on the phone, tell people a little bit about Krav Maga and why you think that everybody should be doing it.
Well, Krav Maga was invented by the Israeli army, and they needed something that they could, teach the troops very quickly, and something that they could put into battle, quick. So they didn't have a whole lot of time to learn defensive tactics on the long term. They had to have it short term, and it was easy to learn and quick to assimilate out in the field. So that's how it started. And then in the early 80s, it was adapted over for civilian use. And, it was new to the U.S. in the late 80s, early 90s, and it's just kind of become more popular as everybody started to figure out what Krav Maga was and what it is and the benefits of it. You can stay in shape. It's a fun way to stay in shape. And, you don't have to spend years and years and years to become efficient at it.
Yeah, that always sounds good because, the one thing people don't have is a lot of time.
Exactly. It's something you can do 2 days a week, about 3 or 4 months of it, and you're pretty much on to being able to take care of yourself.
Yeah, that sounds fun, man. I've seen the stuff that you've posted on social media and stuff like that. It's like, I wish that I had gotten into, of course, you're going to say it's never too late, but what's going to happen, you're going to have to come over to Nashville and you're going to have to, I guess, give me private lessons or something.
Absolutely. We'll get over there and do that and maybe get some IKMF set up in
yeah,
Nashville.
We were talking about that the other night. There is no certified IKMF school in the state of Tennessee.
Well, we're going to change that.
See, that sounds like a good idea to me. It's good all the way around. You get fit, get healthy, but also, learn techniques that can actually save your life. We were talking about that. It's just the day. It's like I was saying earlier, the day we live in, the day and time that we live in. As much as I hate to admit it, you're not safe going to the grocery store. You're not safe getting in your car. You're just. It's almost like you constantly have to be on alert now.
Yeah, your everyday mindset has to be a little bit more. Some people call it paranoid. I call it prepared. It's like if you have 2 fire extinguishers, you're paranoid. But we all have that fire extinguisher, and we hope we never have to use it. So it's kind of like a different mindset. You just have to be a little bit more aware of what's going on, pay attention, and be a little less in your phone when you're out in public walking around.
Well, I tell you, I got a question for you. For Kevin is also a Pulaski County deputy sheriff there in Central Arkansas, where I grew up. And with the Krav Maga stuff and everything that's going on right now about cops and everybody hating on cops and, for using lethal force and things like that, I know that you've started to work with a lot of police departments in teaching them these techniques and that you're starting to see that a lot of times it's techniques like Krav Maga can teach you that will have you reaching for those versus a firearm. And that, to me, there's always going to be that situation where I hate to say it, but a gun's the only thing that's going to settle the problem. There are those situations for law enforcement. But outside of those, I would think that in the day and time that we live in, that having those skills could de-escalate a situation and keep things more non-lethal.
Right. And, in law enforcement, that's kind of become the perceived public problem is the overuse of force, the deadly force. So you're not so tool dependent when you have the skills to go hands-on because, in a lot of agencies, a lot of different cities, they've kind of tied our hands to where, you have to just kind of put up with as much as you can, and then the cops are getting killed because they're scared to use deadly force when needed, but they're also scared to go hands-on. So it's definitely a training issue. I think some of the defensive tactics are kind of outdated. They don't work. So, with Krav Maga, it's something that, you can train the troops quickly. It's a different mindset and it's a different skill set. So, I think nationwide, if they would start implementing Krav Maga and, using the system, instead of some of the older systems that the the deadly force and overuse of force would go way down.
Yeah, I think so too. And Lord knows we need that right now. Because every time you turn around, you're hearing not good news, and it's like that to me just makes a hell of a lot of sense.
Yeah, it all comes down to training. Most agencies, they spend more time at the range than they do, on defensive tactics, and they don't spend that much time at the range. So, it comes down. I know it comes down to budget and personnel, but if they would spend a little less time on new cars and send officers to get trained, I think that would be money well spent, and it would overall save the departments in lawsuits and just general public perception.
Right. Well, man, I appreciate you testing out our new toll-free number, 877-337-8737. I know you and I are going to speak later. Buddy, thanks for calling in. And there again, if you're anywhere near Central Arkansas, it's Krav Maga, Arkansas. You can find them on Facebook, Instagram, everywhere. If you're ever near or you live there, you need to go check out Krav Maga, Arkansas. Kevin, thank you for calling in, buddy. All right, talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Anybody else want to call in? The number's right there, 877-337-8737. Like I said, I didn't really have a format or a script for tonight, simply because I have not been feeling good. Like I said, I'm just not feeling well, so I haven't had a lot of time to prepare. But I wanted to get on tonight. I want to try to do this thing where I don't like do it and then have to stop. I want to do it every Tuesday. And like I said, in about 30, 45 days when the show is going to go on Apple TV and Roku and Amazon, I'm going to have to keep a schedule whether I'm sick or not, or have a guest host or something come in. But I'm more than willing to answer any question you got, anything you want to talk about. We can talk about music business stuff, songwriting, production. I see Chandler Jones, T-4 days till the Songwriter Series next show. Absolutely. If you are anywhere around Huntsville, Alabama, I will be performing at the Ferguson Farms Hit Songwriter Series this Saturday night with American Idol's Brandon Elder and songwriter-artist Gil Grand. We're going to come down there. We're going to play you some hit songs that we've written and tell you the stories behind them. To get in, it's normally $40 to get in, but the Ferguson Farms people are doing a toy drive. So if you bring a new quality toy, you're going to get in free. It's going to be a great time. Brandon's going to talk about his experience on American Idol, sing some original music for us. I'll play you some hits that I've written for artists, and maybe some stuff from TV and film, and Gil's going to play the hits he's written. And then Gil's also doing this thing and I'm going to make him do it. I don't know he's probably not going to want to do it, but I'm going to make him do it. Gil's doing this thing. It's not I've said this before. It's not an impersonation, but it's a tribute show to Conway Twitty, because growing up, he and his dad were always just huge fans of traditional country music, and they loved Conway Twitty. He called me about a year or so ago, and he said, "Hey, what do you think about an idea of me doing this thing?" And I was like, sounds great to me. And then we went in the studio and I co-produced this EP on him. You can get it on Spotify or iTunes, anywhere you buy or stream music. It's called One Night with Conway, featuring Gil Grand. I was lucky enough to get to produce that. And when I heard him, we were doing vocals on that EP. Gil is not trying to sound like Conway Twitty. It's just odd that he does. And when he's doing these old Conway Twitty songs, I got to be honest with you, of all the records that I've produced in the millions and millions of copies that they've gone on to sell, this is probably in my top 3 or 4 projects that I am most proud of to have produced, honestly. And it's one of the only ones that I pull up and I listen to a lot, like over and over and over again. Well, now he's taken this on tour and he's gone out on the road. He is selling out shows all over the United States and Canada with the One Night with Conway show. And I got him to take a weekend off. He's coming down to Ferguson Farms with me. We will head down from Nashville on Saturday to come see you guys for the Ferguson Farms Hit Songwriter Series. Bring a new quality toy, and you can get in free. It's going to be fun. We always have so much fun. We do them once a month, and every month I bring down a different hit songwriter with me from here in Nashville, and it's been a blast. This is, of course, going to be our last one of the year, so it's kind of a Christmas celebration. It's going to be fun. I'm sure we're going to have eggnog, a bunch of holiday-themed stuff. It's going to be fun. Who knows, we might even break out a couple Christmas tunes. But it's going to be a good time. You can find out more information on Facebook. Just visit Hit Songwriter Series, and you'll find them right there, or hitsongwriterseries.com. It's this Saturday in Union Grove, Alabama, just outside Huntsville. Show starts at 7 p.m. Looking forward to it. Going to be a lot of fun. Hope you can make it. If you are anywhere, like if you're within a 2-hour drive, there's no excuse not to be there. It's going to be a lot of fun. Chandler takes care of me. Chandler sets up all the sound and everything. We've got a great Bose sound system. It's amazing. It looks good. It sounds great. We got food, drinks, everything else you could possibly want to have a good night out. So grab a loved one, bring them. And it's kid-friendly, too. I mean, I have to admit, I drop in the occasional F-bomb just because that's how I talk and I can't filter myself. But it is 99% kid-friendly, and we're going to have a good time. So I hope you can come join us. It's the Ferguson Farms Hit Songwriter Series this Saturday night, Union Grove, Alabama, just outside Huntsville. We're going to have a great time. Anybody else have any more questions? Anybody else want to call in? Got a question? Want to talk about something? I do want to let you guys know there has been a huge response to a video that I put up on the YouTube channel that I think the title was Best Music Distributor of 2018, where I went over for independent artists and talked about all the different digital music distribution platforms like Spotify and DistroKid. You want to be watching. If you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel already, make sure that you do because I've got a new video coming out, and we're going to talk about the best music distributor for 2019. And I found a new distributor that I'm really pleased with. I actually used them on a project for an artist that I'm developing, and I loved how easy it was to use and all of the different things that you can do. I found it very interesting, very easy to use, very, very easy to use interface. And I actually liked it better than TuneCore and DistroKid. So that video is coming out as well. Once that airs, we might do a podcast. We might talk about it because I get a lot of emails about that video. But to know where all this is going on and what's going on, you really got to be following me on social media. You can follow me on Instagram at the Steve Freeman. The cool thing about it is that they're all the same. And even on Twitter, it is the exact same thing. It's at the Steve Freeman. And those of you watching on Facebook tonight, you know where to find me on Facebook because you're watching it right now. It's at the Steve Freeman. Isn't that amazing how that works? I think that's pretty awesome. If nobody has any more questions or any more comments, we can wrap it up. I haven't had a really good appetite for a couple of days now with this sinus infection. You know, it just kind of takes your appetite away. And last night, I started to get, like, I got a little bit hungry last night, and so I went in there and I thought, okay, I'm going to make a grilled cheese. Well, the problem with that is me cooking anything because I don't cook anything. I mean, I can make a Red Baron pizza just as good as anybody, but cooking, no. So last night was a bad idea from the word go. So I thought, okay, well, I'm going to go make me and I burnt the damn thing and smoke all over the house. And we were opening doors and windows and it was just horrible. So it even smelling it's like, oh, now I'm not hungry at all. But I actually been a little bit hungry today. Got a sub sandwich I'm going to absolutely tear into here in just a little bit and maybe log on and either watch some YouTube videos or watch some TV or something like that. I have to say I've kind of I caught up the other day finally on the last season of Ballers. Watched that whole thing, and that was I kind of scratched my head after that one. I don't know. I don't understand what's going on there. And The Walking Dead, I'm like 19 episodes behind on Walking Dead. I don't know what's going on with that show, but it's like the same thing keeps happening over and over and over again. It's like, oh my God. So I'm trying to decide if I'm even just going to bail on The Walking Dead. I don't even know if I'm going to keep watching it or not. But I'm into The Escape at Dan Mora. I'm into that. I like Benicio del Toro a lot. So I'm really into that right now, and trying to catch up on some of the shows when I have some time that I've really missed out on. I want to do a podcast on that too and talk about all these new shows because there's some really good stuff. I got to tell you, man, Netflix and Hulu and Amazon, those guys, they are just outdoing network television. I told my wife the other night, I swear to God that the only reason I still have DirecTV is because of NFL Sunday Ticket, so that I can watch every single football game every Sunday. That is the only reason I even have it. If not, we could totally get by with Netflix, Hulu, and Amazon Prime. Because you can get everything. And I think now, even like with AT&T, I think I pay for HBO like in 9 different places. Have you ever thought about that? Those of you that like have AT&T or Verizon or whatever, you get HBO for free whenever I don't care who you have, Sprint, anybody, you get HBO for free. So you get it when you have your phone plan, you get it when you buy your internet plan, and you get it when you buy your cable or your Dish Network or your DirecTV. So you're literally paying for HBO like 7 different places. Or you can just buy the app. In the App Store, you can watch it there. And so it's like, I'm really considering, once football season is over, I may cut the cord. I'm thinking about it seriously, and I just may cut the cord. It might happen. So we'll see. But that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get something to eat and just kind of chill out for a little while and try to get to feeling better. I'm sorry, guys. The show this week is just really slow. I was not prepared, and I didn't want to not do it. I got to get in this routine to where it's every Tuesday, and then coming up, it's going to be every Tuesday and Thursday, and there's even been discussion of it being every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So I've got to get in this. I've got to stay in this motivation thing of doing it, whether I feel good or not. So I appreciate you guys indulging me tonight when I'm not feeling real well. Thank you guys so much. And I guess we'll call it quits there. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at the Steve Freeman. If you're watching on YouTube and you haven't subscribed to the channel, do me a favor, hit that subscription button, hit the bell next to it so that you're notified every time I upload new content or we go live like we are tonight. And for those of you that just can't get enough, the Steve Freeman podcast is now available on iTunes and Spotify. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for your comments, your phone calls. Can't wait to get you guys over into the new studio where I can show you what it looks like. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to it. Looking forward to a lot of the guests that we have booked that are going to be coming on in 2019. Going to be a lot of fun. I'm trying to get Ryan Upchurch on here. We're going back and forth. I'm trying to get him on here because I think it would be very interesting. Those of you that don't know who Ryan Upchurch is, go to YouTube or even just Google Ryan Upchurch. I think this guy's a genius, and I want to have him on the show. So I'm going to try to make that happen shortly into 2019 as well. Guys, thank you for being here tonight. Before we go, don't forget, keep being creative, right? And there's nothing wrong with being independent. Guys, if not before then, I will see you next week.
Wild beasts that can't be tamed, cries through the dark that midnight ride.